Chapter number 4, Plant Kingdom. So plant kingdom includes various groups of plants which have been considered from primitive to the advanced group of plants. So which includes starting with Thallophyta group of plants. So the Thallophyta contains both algae and fungi. Next one is a Bryophyta and Pteridophyta, Gymnosperms and the highly advanced group of plants, those are called as Angiosperms. So these are the groups of plants which are kept under plant kingdom. So here already we had studied about the fungal group of plants in the 5 kingdom classification as a separate kingdom. So we are going to discuss about some of the important characters of algae group, Bryophyta group, Pteridophyta group, Gymnosperms group and the Angiospermic group of plants. So let's start with the first one, that is algae. In the plant kingdom, algae are the primitive group of plants which are mostly aquatic in their habitat. And most of the plants are freshwater, and the same point of time some of them are growing in a marine environmental conditions also. And some of them are unicellular and some are multicellular in their nature. If they are multicellular, they are in the form of filaments or sometimes in the form of flat structures also. And these are most of these are chlorophyllous, as they have the chlorophyll pigment in them. Particularly they have chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, C, D and E chlorophyll molecules, and these chlorophyll molecules will help in photosynthesis. This when they perform photosynthesis, they prepare their own food materials, and the excess food material will be stored in the form of various organic molecules, like it may be in the form of starch, Floridian starch, carbohydrates, mannitol or laminarin, based on the classes of this algae. So the type of food material will be differing from one class to the other class. And when it comes to the type of reproduction, so they perform 3 types of reproductions. One is a vegetative, asexual and the sexual methods of reproductions. And vegetative may be of various types, like if it is a filamentous form, they break to form into small fragments, so we call it as a fragmentation process. Then the second method of reproduction is a asexual method of reproduction. In this asexual method of reproduction, they produce some specialized either unicellular or multicellular spores or structures called as spores, and these spores, when they germinate and when they fall on the suitable substratum, they germinate and give rise to the new individual. These spores may be either non-motile spores or sometimes they may be motile spores also. When they are non-motile spores, we call them as aplanospores, and if they are motile spores, we call them as a zoospores. And the next one is a sexual method of reproduction. In the sexual method of reproduction, the formation of gametes is present. Okay, based on the type of gametes that are produced, it may be of isogamous type, anisogamous type or oogamous type of condition. So these are the brief characteristic features regarding algae group of plants. In our syllabus, they had given the brief characters of 3 classes belonging to algae. One is green alga called as chlorophysi members, brown alga called as phaeophysi members, and red alga called as rhodophysi members. So the color of the 3 group of classes or 3 group of alga classes are differing based on the type of pigment present in them. That is chlorophyll A and B are present in chlorophysi members, whereas chlorophyll A and C are present in phaeophysi members, and chlorophyll D and A are present in rhodophysi members. So based on the type of pigment, the color will be varying from one group of algal members to other group of algal members. Then next one is a Bryophyta group of plants, or we can call them as a bryophytes. So bryophytes are the first group of plants which occupy their habitat on the land. So we call them as a first land plants, or we can also call them as a primitive land plants also. And they have one special feature that they can survive on land and also on inside the water. So as they have dual nature in their habitats, so we call them as a amphibians of plant kingdom. They are called as amphibians of the plant kingdom. And one other important thing that they are exhibiting some of the characters of algal group of plants and some of the characters which are deviating from the algal group of plants. And the other important character regarding bryophytes is these are the first group of plants where two generations are present in their life cycles. One is called as gametophytic generation and other is called as sporophytic generation. And in this bryophyte or group of plants, gametophyte is the dominant stage, whereas a sporophyte is either partially or completely dependent on the gametophyte for their survival. So likewise, the two generations are present which are coming in alternation with each other. So we call the life cycle as alternation of haplodiplontic life cycle, and life cycle as a alternation of generations are present. We call them as heteromorphic alternation of generations. Under bryophytes, there are three groups are there. One is called as liverworts, second one is hornworts, and third one is mosses. Hornworts are the primitive or the middle one, whereas liverworts are the primitive group of bryophytes, whereas mosses are showing some advanced features which are resembling to some of the pteridophyta group of plants. So these are the three classes under which bryophytes have been categorized. So next group of plants are pteridophytes. Pteridophytes are also the non-flowering plants as like bryophytes. But the thing is, these are the first plants to have the vascular tissue inside their organization. So we call them as a vascular cryptograms. Cryptograms means the non-flowering plants, and they have the vascular tissue, that is xylem and phloem, inside their sporophytic body. So these are the only non-flowering vascular plants. So that's why we call them as vascular cryptograms, and these are the plants which are having true structures in their organization. So we call them as a true land plants also. True land plants also. And some important characters of pteridophyta group of plants is here the leaves are called as fronds in them. Leaves are called as fronds, and pteridophyta exhibit a special type of vernation called as circinate vernation. Circinate vernation means when a young leaf is present, it will coil like a watch spring like structure. That ability of coiling like a watch spring is called as circinate vernation. And other thing is the presence of an brown colored hairs called as ramenta. This is also one of the other important character regarding pteridophyta group of plants. Then zoidogamous oogami is present in them. So zoidogamous condition means where the male gametes are motile. So as the male gametes are motile, they may swim in the water, that is water is required for fertilization process, and they reach the female structures and they participate in the fertilization process. And here the male and female gametes are quite different in their organization, that is male are having flagella or cilia which help in locomotion and they are small in structure, whereas a female one are non-motile and they are large in size. So that variation is considered to be the oogamous condition. So this is one of the other important character of other important character of pteridophytes, that is zoidogamous oogami. And in pteridophytes, there are some classes where, as like in other group of plants, they have been categorized based on the characteristic features. And one other thing is they also produce spores. The spores which are produced inside the sporangium may be of same type or of different types. Based on that one, we can call homosporous condition or heterosporous condition, or we can call it as homospory and heterospory. Homospory means all the spores which are formed inside the sporangium of same type, that is similar in the structure, shape and size, whereas heterospory means inside one sporangium different types of spores are formed. Generally two types of spores are formed, some of them are small and some of them are large. The one which are small are called as microspores and the one which are large are called as macrospores. That deviation can be seen. The other thing is the zygote will develop into embryo inside the female gametophyte. This is one of the most important character of pteridophytes, and this is the event which is considered to be the precursor for seed habit. That seed habit is seen in the next group of plants called as gymnosperms. Gymnosperms are the first group of plants which are forming flowers on their body. That is flower producing plants. Producing plants, and apart from flowers they also produce seeds. So that's why these gymnosperms are kept under spermatophyta. But one other thing is here, ovaries are absent in them. As ovaries are absent, the fruit formation is also absent. So this is one of the important character of gymnosperms, where seeds are present but fruits are absent. That means ovules are there which develops into seed, whereas as ovaries are absent, the fruit formation is absent in them. Then the type of pollination here in them is direct type of pollination, and anemophilous type of pollination is there. That is anemophilous type of pollination means the wind will help in transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma. Then they also produce endosperm. Endosperm is haploid in gymnosperm group of plants. Why it is haploid means the endosperm is formed before fertilization directly from the tissue of female gametophyte. As a female gametophyte is haploid in condition, the same type of ploidy can be seen inside the endosperm also. So as it is a pre-fertilization product developing directly from the tissue of female gametophyte, we call it as a haploid product, and it is nutritive in function. It is nutritive in function. So most of the characters of gymnosperms are related to angiospermic group of plants, but they are differing from angiosperms in very few number of characters, like absence of fruit, and direct type of pollination, and endosperm which is haploid in condition. Okay, out of all the group of plants that we have discussed till now, those are generally exhibiting primitive characters when compared to angiosperms. That's why we consider in the evolutionary aspect, angiosperms are the advanced group of plants which are showing more evolved characters when compared to other group of plants. And let's talk about only few important characters which are present in angiosperms. That is, these are flowering plants. Apart from flower formation, they also produce seeds and fruits. Flower formation is there, seed formation is present, and also fruit formation is also been seen in this group of plants. And here the most important or we can say unique character that is present in angiosperms is double fertilization. That is, two male gametes are formed during the reproductive process. Out of the two male gametes, one of the male gamete will fuse with the egg cell to produce zygote, which in turn develops into embryo as a result of post-fertilization changes. And the second male gamete will fuse with the diploid secondary nucleus which is present inside the female gametophyte, and which result in primary endosperm nucleus or primary endosperm cell which is triploid in condition. That primary endosperm nucleus or primary endosperm cell will develop into endosperm as a result of post-fertilization changes. So the endosperm which is present inside the seed along with the embryo is triploid in condition, and that triploid endosperm is nutritive in its function. That is, it is providing nutrition to the developing embryo. And the type of pollination exhibited by these plants is indirect type of pollination. That is, the stigma will receive the pollen grains and the pollen grains will germinate on the stigma. Then it will be producing pollen tube. The pollen tube will pass through the style, and finally it will enters into the ovule through the ovaries. So this type of pollination is called as indirect type of pollination. So these are some of the important features regarding angiospermic group of plants. Okay, now let's discuss some of the important characters which are where we can, there's a chance of asking in the EAMCET exam. So regarding plant kingdom. So let's come to question number 1. Example for colonial form of algae. Options: 1. Chlamydomonas, 2. Volvox, 3. Spirogyra, 4. fucus. So here the four options that have been given are belonging to algae only, but here when you are saying colonial form, so it is an association of a group of unicellular organisms which exist in the form of a colony. So this type of character is present in which of the following four? So in the first option, that is Chlamydomonas have been given. Chlamydomonas is a unicellular algae. So it does not form colonial association. Each and every individual Chlamydomonas is independently present. So it is not correct. Then Volvox. Volvox is also a unicellular algae which is aquatic in its nature, and here many Volvox will get associated with each other and they exist in the form of a colony, and these group of Volvox organisms which are present in the colony have connections called as, with the help of some fibril like structures. So this is forming the colonial form of habitat. Then next one is Spirogyra. Spirogyra is multicellular and filamentous structure. It does not form colonial nature. Next one is Fucus. Fucus belongs to the higher group of algae. It is also multicellular and does not form colonial organization. So out of the given four options, Volvox is the correct answer. The question number 1, correct answer is 2. Question number 2. Choose a wrong statement with reference to Phaeophyce. Options: pear-shaped biflagellate zoospores and flagella are unequal and laterally attached. 2. Pyriform shaped gametes bearing 2 laterally attached flagella. 3. Union of gametes occur in the oogonium. 4. Carotenoids and xanthophyll are absent. So here in the question they were talking about Phaeophyce members. Phaeophyce members are nothing but the brown algae. The brown algae. So the color of this algal group is because of the pigmentation that is present in them. Let's discuss the points here that have been given the four options. First one here, pear-shaped biflagellated zoospores are present which are having 2 flagella which are unequal and laterally attached. So actually the spores will be like this, pyriform its nature and having 2 flagella like this, which are laterally present, and these 2 flagella are unequal in their size. So the first statement is correct regarding Phaeophyce members. The second one is regarding the gametes. Gametes are also pyriform, that is they are also pear-shaped bearing 2 laterally attached flagella as like that of the spores. So second statement is also correct. And union of gametes occur in oogonium, that is the male and female gametes will fuse inside the female gametophytic structure or oogonium structure. So that statement is also correct. And the fourth statement is it have been given that carotenoids and xanthophylls are absent. So these two are the photosynthetic pigments or accessory photosynthetic pigments which help in photosynthesis. These two are present in Phaeophyce members because apart from chlorophyll A and C, these two pigments, carotenoids and xanthophylls, will support the other main photosynthetic pigments for performing photosynthesis. So question number 2, correct answer is 4. Question number 3, choose the wrong statement with reference to liverworts. Options: 1. Thallus is prostrate and dorsiventral. 2. Sporophyte is generally differentiated into foot, seta and capsule. 3. Leafy members have their hair-like appendages in 3 rows on the stem-like structure. 4. Spores germinate and form free-living gametophytes. So here the question they had given the characters regarding liverworts. Liverworts are the part of bryophyta group of plants, or we can say liverworts are the primitive group of bryophytes, and these liverworts are exhibiting most of the characters resembling to that of algal members. That is first point, prostrate and dorsiventral. Here the plant body is called as thallus like structure, and here it does not have root, stem and leaf like organization, and it is prostrate means flat and which contains the dorsal side and also the ventral side. So first statement is correct. Then sporophyte is generally differentiated into foot, seta and capsule. So in liverworts or in almost all the bryophyta group of plants, here the sporophyte is differentiated into 3 parts. The lower part is called as foot, the middle part is called as seta and uppermost part is called as a capsule. So the capsule is considered to be the spore producing part, or we can say asexual structure which help in formation of spores. Those spores will germinate and give rise to the gametophytic generation. So that statement is also correct. Then third one, leafy members have their hair-like appendages in 3 rows on the stem-like structures. Actually, this statement is nowhere related to the liverworts, so this statement is wrong. The fourth one, spores germinate and form free-living gametophyte. Just now I said in the second option that sporophyte contain 3 structures, food, seed and capsule. The capsule is a spore producing structure. The spores which are released from the capsule will germinate and give rise to the gametophyte, which is a free living and independent or photosynthetic in its nature. So the fourth statement is also correct. So out of the 4 statements, the wrong statement regarding liverworts is statement number 3. Question number 3, correct answer is 3. Question number 4, identify the wrong statement with reference to mosses. Options 1, rhizoids are unicellular and unbranched. Second, juvenile stage called protonema develops from spore. Third, adult leafy stage called gametophores develop from the buds of protonema. 4, presence of spirally arranged leaves. So here in the question, the characters are regarding mosses. Mosses are the advanced group of bryophyta plants, and these mosses contain root-like, stem-like and leaf-like structures, but these are not the true stem, true leaf and true root. Why? Because these root-like, stem-like and leaf-like structure are the part of gametophytic generation and they does not have vascular tissue inside them. So that's the reason why we consider them as we can say that they are not the true structures to be considered. The first one, the rhizoids are unicellular and unbranched. Actually, they have root-like structures called as rhizoids. These rhizoids will help in fixation of the plant into the soil, and these are unicellular and unbranched. So they may be unicellular, unbranched it is given, but they are multicellular and branched in their nature. These are multicellular and branched. So that statement is wrong. Second one, juvenile stage called protonema develops from spore. Actually in mosses, 3 plant bodies are present. One is called as protonema. The first stage is called as protonema. Second one is called as gametophore. The third one is called as sporophyte. So these 2 are the gametophytic representing the gametophytic generation, and this one is a sporophytic generation. So the sporophyte will produce the spores, and those spores when germinate they will develop into the juvenile stage called as a protonema. So that statement is correct. Third one, leafy stage called gametophore develops from buds of protonema. The protonema will produce as buds. These buds on germination will give rise to gametophore or leafy gametophore generation. So this statement is correct. Fourth one, presence of spirally arranged leaves. So leaves are present, leaf-like structures are present which are spirally arranged on the stem-like structure. So this statement is also correct. So out of the 4 given statements, the wrong statement regarding mosses is statement number 1. So question number 4, the correct answer is 1. Question number 5, choose the incorrect statement with reference to ferns. Options 1, young leaves show circinate vernation. 2, petioles are covered with multicellular ramenta. 3, leaflets show open dichotomous or furcate vernation. 4, anthrozoids are spirally coiled and biciliate. So let's come to the question here. The question is regarding ferns. Ferns are the group of plants belonging to pteridophytes. So we have to identify the wrong statement regarding ferns from the 4 options that have been given for this question. The first one is young leaves show circinate vernation. So in the introductory part we discussed that the young leaves will be coiled like a wasp spring like this. So this character is called as circinate vernation. So this statement is correct. Second one, petioles are covered with multicellular ramenta. So here on the pteridophyta group of plants, we can say some parts of the plant have this brown colored multicellular hairs called as ramenta, so that they are protective in function. So that statement is also correct. Then leaflets show open dichotomous or furcate vernation. So in the leaflets, if you take the structure of a leaflet, the midrib will be present, and on the midrib the lateral veins are present. These lateral veins at the end, they will split to form two branches, and each branch is equal to the other one. So we call this type of branching of the lateral veins is called as open dichotomous branching. Or furcate vernation. So this third statement is also correct regarding ferns, and the fourth statement is antherozoids are spirally coiled and biciliate. So the antherozoids, that is male gametes, are not spirally coiled, but they are slightly different from the option that have been given here. So this statement is wrong. So question number 5, answer is 4. Question number 6, embryophytic, non-archegoniate, vascular, fruit-bearing spermatophytes are. Given options are 1. Gymnosperms, 2. Angiosperms, 3. Mosses, 4. Ferns. So in the question it has been given that embryophytic means the group of plants which are producing embryo in its life cycle. Non-archegoniates means in the lower group of plants like in bryophytes, pteridophytes and gymnosperms, the female reproductive organ called as archegonia are produced. But in higher plants like in angiosperms, archegonia is absent. Next, vascular. Vascular means which contains the vascular tissue, that is both xylem and phloem are present. So first time the vascular tissues are observed in pteridophyte group of plants. Later, slightly developed vascular tissue are present in gymnosperms, and highly developed vascular tissue are present in angiosperms. Then fruit bearing. Fruit bearing formation of fruit is a unique feature present only in the angiospermic group of plants. And spermatophytes means seed producing plants. So from the given options, all the characters are present in angiospermic group of plants. So if we take the options, that is first one, gymnosperms, they does not have a fruit in their organization. Second one, angiosperms will exhibit all the characters. Mosses are the bryophytes which does not have vascular tissue in them, and they does not produce fruits and also seeds. Ferns or pteridophytes, they also does not produce fruits and seeds in them. So out of the given options, the second option is correct one, that is question number 6, correct answer is 2. Question number 7, choose a wrong combination. Options 1. Gymnosperms, siphonogamous, oogamy. 2. Angiosperms, siphonogamous, oogamy. 3. Pteridophytes, zoidogamous, oogamy. 4. Bryophytes, siphonogamous, oogamy. So while going to the answer here, so we have to know something about oogamy, zoidogamy and siphonogamy. So here let's start with zoidogamy or zoidogamous condition. Zoidogamous condition or zoidogamy means motile male gametes are present in the life cycle. So presence of zoidogamy condition is seen only up to pteridophyta group of plants. That means in higher plants like in gymnosperms and angiosperms, motile male gametes are absent. Then second one is siphonogamy or siphonogamous condition. Siphonogamous condition means formation of pollen tube, or the male gametes are carried by pollen tube to the female structures. So this is the advanced character when compared to zoidogamous condition. This siphonogamous condition is present in gymnosperms and in angiosperms. Then next one is oogamy. So oogamy means the fusion of motile male gamete with non-motile large female gamete. So this type of character is present in most of the plants, starting from bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and also in the angiosperms. Okay, now let's come to the options that have been given here. Gymnosperms, siphonogamous, oogamy. So that is correct. Second one, angiosperms, siphonogamous, oogamy is correct. Pteridophytes, zoidogamous, oogamy is correct. But when it is coming to the fourth option, bryophytes does not exhibit siphonogamous condition because pollen tube formation is not present in bryophytes, whereas they exhibit zoidogamy condition, that is male gametes are motile, and of course the type of fertilization is oogamy condition. So out of the given 4 options, fourth one is not related with the bryophytes. So question number 7, correct answer is 4. Question number 8, in bryophytes, the given options are One, both sporophyte and gametophyte are independent. 2, sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte. 3, both sporophyte and gametophyte are dependent on one another. 4, gametophyte is dependent on sporophyte. Okay. Now let's come to the question here. In bryophytes, 2 generations are present. One is called as gametophytic generation and the other is called as sporophytic generation. Generally here the gametophytic generation is independent and it is photosynthetic, and of course it is a haploid and a dominant stage in the life cycle, whereas the second generation is called as sporophyte generation. So this is dependent on gametophyte for its nutrition, and of course it is diploid in its ploidy. So if we consider the question based on these two features, we can say that first one, both sporophyte and gametophyte are independent. So as I said that gametophyte is independent but not sporophyte. So the first statement is wrong. Second statement, sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte. Of course, that statement is perfectly matching to the characters which I had explained here. The third one, both sporophyte and gametophyte are dependent on one another. Sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte but not the gametophyte. So that statement is wrong. Fourth one, gametophyte is dependent on sporophyte. So this statement is also wrong because sporophyte is dependent on the gametophyte. So based on the explanation part, we can say that second option is perfectly matching to the question. That is question number 8. Correct answer is 2. Question number 9. If the haploid number of chromosomes in a gymnosperm is 6, their number in its endosperm cell would be options 1, 12, 2, 24, 3, 6, 4, 36. Okay, in the explanatory part where we were discussing that gymnosperms are the plants where endosperm formation is present, but that endosperm is formed before fertilization directly from the cells of gametophyte, female gametophytic generation. As a female gametophyte is haploid in its nature, or ploid is haploid, so directly those haploid cells are converted into endosperm cells. That's the reason why the endosperm cells are haploid in condition. So that means in the question it is given that haploid number of chromosomes is 6 in the gymnosperm, that is n is equals to 6. That means the female gametophyte cells, the cells of female gametophyte also contains 6 chromosomes in them, and those cells are directly converted into endosperm. So endosperm is also haploid in its condition. So the number of chromosomes in each cell of endosperm will also be 6. So the correct answer is option number 3. Question number 9, correct answer is 3. Question number 10, pteridophytes are characterized with options 1, multicellular, jacketed and sessile sex organs. 2, water is not required for fertilization. 3, all plants are homosporous. 4, prothallus is non-photosynthetic and unicellular body. So here in the 4 options they had given the characters which some of them are resembling and some of them are not resembling to the pteridophyta group of plants. Let's come to the first option, that is multicellular, jacketed and sterile sessile sex organs are present. So here the sex organs are called as antheridia and archegonia. Antheridia are called as a male sex organs, whereas archegonia are called as a female sex organs, and both of them are made up of many cells. So these are multicellular in their nature and they are covered with some sterile jacket, or we can say protective sheet is present. We call it as a sterile jacket. If we take the structure of antheridium, so it will be covered with some sort of layer like this. Inside which the spermatozoids are present. So this layer is called as a sterile jacket. So then when it is coming to archegonia, archegonia will be flask shape. It is also covered with some sterile jacket layers, or protective sheet is present. Inside which the ventral canal cell and the egg cell are present. So this part is called as neck and this part is called as venter. Here in both of them, this layer is called as a sterile jacket and they does not have stalk. That's why we call them as a sessile in their nature. Then second option, for fertilization what is not required that have been given here, but as the male gametes are motile, so they have some locomotory structures. With the help of those locomotory structures, they will swim in the water and reach the archegonium. So water is necessary for fertilization. So that statement is wrong. Third one, all plants are homosporous. Here some of the pteridophytes are exhibiting homosporous condition and some of them are exhibiting heterosporous condition. So homosporous condition means thus all the spores formed inside one sporangium are of same type, whereas heterosporous condition means some of the spores are small, those are called as microspores, and some of them are large, those are called as macrospores. That condition is called as heterospory condition. So pteridophytes are exhibiting both homosporous condition and also heterosporous condition, so that statement is wrong. Fourth one, Prothallus is non-photosynthetic and unicellular body. In pteridophytes also two generations are present. One is called as sporophytic generation, other is called as gametophytic generation. Here both the generations are independent of each other. Independent of each other means they can perform, that is both the generations can perform photosynthesis. That means both of them are unicellular and both of them are multicellular in their nature. So in the option that is given, Prothallus, Prothallus is nothing but gametophyte plant. The gametophyte plant is independent, photosynthetic, multicellular in its nature, and it will bear the sex organs, that is antheridium and archegonium. So that statement is also wrong. So out of the given 4 options, the most accurate answer for question number 10 is 1. Question number 10, correct answer is 1. Question number 11, both bryophytes and pteridophytes show. Given options are 1. Attachment of sporophyte to gametophyte, 2. Zoidogamous oogamy, 3. Dominant gametophytic phase, 4. Presence of xylem and phloem. Okay, let's come to first option, attachment of sporophyte to gametophyte. Attachment of sporophyte to gametophyte is present only in bryophytes but not in pteridophytes, because as already we said that in pteridophytes both the generations, that is gametophyte and sporophyte, are independent of each other. So that statement is wrong. That means in that statement that character is related only with bryophytes but not with pteridophytes. Second one, zoidogamous oogamy is present. That is male gametes are motile. Male gametes are motile and the fusion between small motile male gamete with large non-motile female gamete is taking place. So that option is perfectly matching to both bryophytes and also pteridophytes. So that is correct. Third one, dominant gametophytic phase. In both bryophytes and pteridophytes, two generations are present. One is the gametophyte, another is sporophyte. Here in gametophyte generation is dominant only in bryophytes, whereas in pteridophytes the sporophytic generation is dominant. So this third option is matching only to bryophytes but not to pteridophytes. The fourth option, presence of xylem and phloem. Out of bryophytes and pteridophytes, the vascular plants are only pteridophytes. That means pteridophytes contain only pteridophytes contain xylem and phloem but not bryophytes. So this statement is also not matching. So correct answer is option number 2. Question number 11, correct answer is 2. Question number 12, one of the following is not a fern character in cycas. Options: 1. Presence of archegonia, 2. Presence of ramenta, 3. Cercinate vernation of young leaves, 4. Siphonogamy. Okay, first option, that is presence of archegonia. Archegonia is a female sex organ which is the characteristic feature of ferns. So that character is also present in cycas. Second one, presence of ramenta. Ramenta are the brown color hairs. This character is one of the important features of fern or pteridophytes that is also been seen in cycas plant. Third one, cercinate vernation of young leaves. That is when a young leaf is present, it is coiled like a watch spring. So this character is also one of the important features of pteridophytes exhibited by cycas. The fourth one, siphonogamy condition. Here a siphonogamy condition means the male gametes are carried by the pollen tube. So this is not present in pteridophyta group of plants but present in cycus along with other gymnosperms also. So out of the 4 given options, siphonogamy is the correct answer. Question number 12, answer is 4.